So today we're going to be taking a look at the Sony ZX100HN high-res audio player, as well as the Pioneer XDP-100R right here. So I'm going to run through a few features of each. I've been able to use them now for about a week or two, and a few things that I've noticed. So let's start with the Sony. Very well built, very sturdy, very strong little device. It comes, if you buy it in North America, with the noise cancelling headphones as well. The headphones have been decent. I use my Sennheiser Momentum 2.0s as well as the Bauer & Wilkins P7 headphones. And they don't compare to those, but the noise cancelling feature has been great for commuting or just sitting down and studying in noisy situations. Now, a few of the features that I really do like about the Sony. The Sony has something called Sense Me channels, and what that does is it looks at the beats in your music and organizes them into different settings. And what that allows you to do is, rather than try and make your own playlists or find songs that you might want to listen to, you can select one of the mood settings. Some of the mood settings are like mellow, lounge, upbeat, relax, energetic, and what it does is it plays that music for you automatically. So it basically creates a smart playlist. And this feature has been very handy, and I've used it quite a bit, especially if you have a larger library and you sort of want to listen to everything here and there. It's very useful. The Sony does have a 128 gig or even 200 gig now expandable slot for a micro SD card. So that's been great, and it does have 128 built in. So right now, the way I have it configured, it's got 128 built in and 128 gig micro SD card, giving me 256 in total, give and take, of course, the space that's taken up by the system. Now, a few things I want to point out. When listening to Bluetooth, both the players function about the same. aptX. It will work very well. You do have to have a compatible headphone that will connect aptX, of course, or a sound system or a speaker or something like that. Now, a few features that I like about the Sony. Some vehicles have USB Connect, and initially when I tried connecting it, it wouldn't read my Sony DAC, and it has a setting in here where you can go into common settings and then USB connection mode, and it'll ask you if you were unable to make a connection. And then if you hit yes to that, what it'll do is it'll mount the device as a USB drive. So most vehicles, I know this is for my Infiniti and Benz and so forth, it would connect through that feature and not by directly just connecting it and hoping that it'll work. Of course, you can always connect Bluetooth as well, and connecting it Bluetooth allows you to play the high-res 24-bit files, whereas if you connect it through the USB, depending on your system, it may or may not play the 24-bit or high-res files. The other thing I've noticed, it doesn't auto-detect when you've plugged in the active noise-canceling headphones versus when you have regular headphones. So you do have to always, if you're switching between headphones, go back into settings and change that. As far as playlists go, it's very easy to manage, because it is a dedicated player and the software itself is designed around the player and music. It does a very good job of that, very good job of finding what you want to play. Whether it's through folders, albums, playlists, types of music, and even if you want to listen to just high res, you can do that with the Sony. Battery life, I found on a realistic level, has been about 40 hours to 50 hours. Sony claims 70 hours of playback with Bluetooth not functioning and non-high res audio files. Now, if you've got all high res audio collection, I've been told or I've read that the battery life can go down to about 30 hours or so, which is still not bad in comparison. Now, so that was a little bit about the Sony right there. Now we're going to look at the Pioneer. Now keep in mind, I'm going to come back to the audio quality in a little bit. The Pioneer is, definitely heftier, a little bit bigger there. About the same thickness. This one, however, has only 32 gigs of built-in memory, and it has two expansion slots on the side, which don't have a cover, which kind of bothered me a little bit there. But this one, technically, you would be able to go up to 432 gigs of storage if you were to use two 200 gig micro SD cards on here. The other thing I like about this is it's got a dedicated volume rocker on the side, and it, of course, does have the dedicated play, forward, and next buttons. In your pocket, I found that the Sony was a little bit easier to just put your hand in with the recessed play button in the middle. Just hit play to pause and so forth. But this one does a pretty good job as well. You'll notice that the play button's got a little thing on there, and you just hit that, it'll play and pause your music normally as well. The screen, of course, is much bigger on the Pioneer compared to the Sony, and I'm not sure how I feel about that right now, especially because if it's a dedicated music player, you don't really need a screen that big. It does support full Android, which is great, because I was able to install the Sonos app on this and play my music through the Sonos speakers. I can have it as a DLNA player and have my receiver at home pick up the music off this device, and it's been working great in that sense. The downside is the battery life I found is horrible. I barely managed to get about 15-16 hours of playback out of it with Wi-Fi on, and with Bluetooth maybe like an hour more or so. With everything off, you get maybe about 18 hours tops, I would say, playback. Now, with the Pioneer, I was very surprised after the 5.1.1 update. It doesn't give you the USB mass storage drive option. So unlike the Sony, if you've got a vehicle that has a USB connect and not the audio cable connect, you can't actually connect your player to your car system. Even though it's got some pretty nifty features in there that would make it a great player for your car. It's able to detect when power is on and can automatically start resume playing. It can pause when power is lost, so if you turn your car off, it would theoretically pause music playback. However, the fact that you can't connect it is, making everything useless. Now, in your hand, the Pioneer does feel bulky, and I'm really not sure why they added these little things here. They could have definitely left those out, and it would have been, a much nicer square. The other thing to notice is it's got this little glass part on the back right here. I'm not sure what this is for. It doesn't have any IR or cellular connectivity. It may just be for the Wi-Fi antennas. I'm not too sure what that's for, but it's there. So, if you're leaving this on a table, moving it around, it does scratch fairly easily in comparison to the rest of the aluminum on the back there. Now, the good thing is, with Android, you get a lot of customizability. There's a lot of features you can add to your player, a lot of EQ settings that you can do that you can't do on the Sony. So, with that said, if you're looking for the better audio, the Pioneer is definitely the way to go. The adjustments on here, the sound quality is just superb and very noticeable in comparison to the Sony. Now, if you're entering the hi-fi market, the Sony is a great device. You can also start with the A17, which is the lower version of the 100. But the audio quality, I cannot undersell the audio quality on this. It is just superb. It's also got a few features that are interesting. So it's got a little feature in here that says line out mode. So if you've connected this to a speaker or a device with a line in, you select line out. All it does realistically is put the volume on maximum, but I found no distortion or anything, and it's a little bit better, especially when playing through louder speakers, the audio quality. The other thing it has is actually called a standalone mode. And what standalone mode does is it turns off all your cellular, your Bluetooth, and turns off the screen, turns off all the electronics that are unnecessary, basically, to cause the minimal interference between your amplifier and your DAC. And of course, with the Pioneer, the way it's designed is half of this device is a DAC and the other half is the amplifier. So it's already been shielded, but it gives you a little bit step further on shielding. Personally, I haven't noticed much of a difference using the standalone mode in audio quality. However, in battery life, it has helped a little bit. It lasts maybe like another 20 minutes or so. But battery is definitely an issue with the Pioneer device here. Although audio quality, you cannot compare. So basically, that was a quick little comparison between the Pioneer and the Sony. If you have any specific questions, feel free to ask me and I will answer them for you. Thank you for watching, and let me know if there's anything else I can do.